Welcome back to Unglamorous Truths, the podcast where we discuss making it in the industry come hell or high water. I'm Chandra.
I'm Crystal.
I'm Nefetari.
And today we have a very, echo me,
very
special guest. She has written for the Oscars, the Emmys, the Golden Globes. You can catch her acting on Southside, Sherman Showcase, Reasonable Doubt, and one special one, The Neighborhood. I would like everyone to raise their hands if they audition for the role of Janelle on The Neighborhood. Now let me announce this to everybody at home. There are 3 raised hands. Crystal's hand is up, Chandra's hand is up, and our guest's hand is up. And now put your hands down if you did not book that role. Okay, Crystal and Chandra's hands fading down. And our one remaining hand belongs to Nefetari Spencer, the queen, the talent.
Salute.
Yes.
Malcolm Markey.
Yes. Welcome to Unglamorous Truths. And
Hi.
congratulations on booking that role.
Thanks. I mean, at least it's in the family. Right?
Yeah.
You know, you always wanted to be somebody in the family.
I was very happy when somebody said, "Oh, she's on The Neighborhood doing this thing," and I said, "I know it's that. And that was a hard audition because it required you to be doing 32 things at once.
At one time. At one time.
Yeah. You did that.
Thank you.
You did that.
Yes.
Now, we always like to kick off with just like a fun, kind of silly question. So today, my question is, if you were a spice, okay, what would you be and why? And so I will go first. Now, if I was any spice, it would be black pepper. Because that's a spice that you sometimes look at and you don't think of razzle dazzle. Oh, it's every day. It's simple. It's basic, but black pepper is essential. Okay, that's the foundation. Okay, you can't really get it popping without that black pepper. And I'm very black. Don't let my light skinned exterior fool you. My insides very black.
I was gonna say, or I would be pink Himalayan salt.
Yes.
Because there's something about the texture of that salt that is just so fun. And when you crunch it on the little squeegee thing, it just comes out so nicely. And it's pretty. And it's almost like a rock. So it's just, but you need it too. It tastes delicious. It just adds a little pizzazz on everything. So that's.
And it's foreign.
And it's gorgeous.
You're
right. If I were a spice, I think I would be garlic powder.
Ooh.
It's because it's not too salty. It's not salty at all, but you need it. Oof. And you know it's missing when it ain't there. When you don't have it, you be like, "Where's my garlic powder?" I'm essential. I'm essential to the the spice rack. So I would be garlic powder.
Good choice.
I'm gonna go with cinnamon.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Cinnamon.
I love cinnamon. I put it in my teas. It's great in coffee. Sweet. You can't go wrong with it. Like when have you ever went, there's cinnamon in that? Oh, like
That's true.
it's always a party. It's a good time.
Okay.
She survived.
We a good little recipe right here. We cooking something cute.
Yep.
So today's episode, we really wanted to talk about just endurance, period. And that's why, Neff, you were the first person that came to our mind. Like, we are obsessed with your career journey. In researching you before we came here today, I'm like, this woman got over 60 acting credits on IMDb and over 30 writing credits. Like, that's insane. We want, we like to pour it up when we hear, so we want to pour into, like, that is the dream, like, for people at home who want to be doing this. I was like, this bitch be working.
Yeah.
But we just want to get a little bit about the beginnings. So, like, what was your first acting role and, like, how did you come into it?
My first role was on the Bernie Mac show. I was Bernie Mac's assistant.
Which came first?
I was an assistant first. I was a production coordinator of the journey is crazy. I worked behind the scenes, right? I was a production coordinator. I think I was like I think there were only 2 black women. It was like Lisa Lee was the first one. Then it was me, and I think I was the youngest to ever do it. And I coordinated some pilots for Chuck Lorre. Chuck Lorre, those particular ones, at that time, it didn't go. And I'm fresh out of college. Like, I just got to LA. Bashir and I, he passed my resume on, and I got that job working in main production at Warner Brothers. I'm saying all that to say is that I then became Bernie Mac's assistant, and I came out here to direct. And Bernie was the one who was like, "What you doing? Your ass is funny." It was because of him, and he told me to stop hiding. It's because of Bernie Mac that I started. Started taking classes at Groundlings, and I started taking classes at Improv Olympic West here, and the writers saw all the stuff that I was doing, and so then I booked a role. They actually wrote a role for me. If you look in the IMDb credits, the character's name is Neff. So they wrote something for me.
And so you went to SCAD, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so when you went, did you always want to be an actress? Was that your intention?
My underneath, yes, but I was terrified to say that's what I wanted to do in life. I did it in high school and some things in college, yes, but my trajectory there was to be a director. So my student film, actually, this is like telling on myself, was it's basically, to me, it was like, yo, girls trip. It was about 4 girls, but they traveled to Atlanta. They went to Freaknik.
That still sound good.
And then they, but it was the friendship that it was about, so it was basically just like, it was literally just, I was like, damn, it's like girls trip. I was like ahead of my time. I was like, college student, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but no, I came here to direct, and, look at me now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're looking.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
enjoying.
It's
We're
next.
enjoying.
It's next. I'm gonna
It's a
do
good
it.
view.
Yeah.
What a
Yes,
full
we do it.
circle. I mean, wow. Talk about literally starting from one thing, traversing through so many paths, which I'm sure we'll get into. And then, yes, returning to it. Here's to you directing.
Like, after you booked that role, like, what was your expectation? Because I know for me, and like, you girls can speak to, your own thing, like, my early bookings of things, I really thought like, okay, now I'm established. Like, I'm just gonna work nonstop at this point. Like, it just takes one role. It was certainly assuming that I was just gonna ascend the ladder to stardom.
So after that very, very first credit, I think I had a healthy outlook in terms of, nah, that ain't it. Because I knew, like, coming from watching deals, and seeing how that stuff was negotiated, sitting in on auditions, watching the best person not get the job, and then watching people like sit on the shelf for a while. So to me, I had a healthy knowledge of like, it's not it until it's it. So I didn't expect anything other than I knew I needed to keep chugging away. I needed to get representation. There were so many things I knew that I needed to do in order to get to like my North Star.
What a healthy perspective. Yeah. I think that's actually a gift that you knew that, because I feel like that's the learning lesson for a lot of starting actors is you think I got the role, more coming.
Yeah.
It's a magnet. I'm going to get all the roles now. And it's like, you got to know what this business is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like, especially coming out of conservatory, for us, where everything is just so like, it's your talent, like, it's just like, that is going to be the thing propels you. Right. And so really graduated with no understanding of any of the steps involved.
Right.
And even thinking like, oh, if I get an agent, like, that is just
it's gonna change for you.
And to your point about watching the person who did the best not get the job, like for a long time I would beat myself up about that. Of like, what did I do wrong? Like, I feel really good about the work, and then you seek feedback. That's an ordeal in itself. Asking your agents for feedback from the casting director, and then they come back, they were great. Like, I have nothing to say. We just went a different direction, and could not understand that for the longest. So I'm like, if you liked me, then why didn't you pick me?
Yeah. Real shit.
It happens. It still happens. I just, I got a call. I did a self-tape, sent it in, casting, reached back out, do another one. Here's new sides. Do it for a pilot. This for a series reg. And I didn't hear anything. I was like, oh, okay, you don't hear anything. On to the next.
Right.
The EP executive producer called me because it's actually someone I knew when I was back in the day as an assistant. So that's the other thing. Now, from coming up as an assistant, I know so many people now who are in those positions of like running shows and all of that stuff now. So he called me and basically he's like, your audition was great. We're going to go a different way, but your audition was great. Everybody referred to what you did with this character up until like the last minute. And, sorry, but you're on our list. I have a deal. Well, maybe, I don't know, after, the strike. After the strike, we'll see what happens. But it was nice to hear that, to get feedback, because that's something we don't normally get. But it's also still stinging to still miss out on a role.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, even do you still take it personally sometimes, even though you know the facts behind it? No,
it's not personal anymore. It's not personal.
Was it ever?
Yes. Oh yeah. I think I would be lying if I sat here and was like, I never got upset about it. So many things led me to do something else. For instance, when I tested for SNL, I got a standing ovation.
Wow.
And I didn't get that. And this was before they were like, yo, we need a black.
Before there was diversity.
Yeah, we need to, yeah. Well, it was, at that test, it was me, Donald Glover, and Jordan Peele.
Wow.
It was the three of us. We were the only black kids there. I was the only black woman who tested that year. And it was just, they decided to cast who they cast. But when that happened, to me, it hurt. But I also was like, man, F that. I'm about to create my own. And I was already in a sketch group, but Bashir and Diallo had just left to go do Fallon. Mm-hmm. They had just got that. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do my own sketch group now. It's going to be all women. It's going to be all black. Mm-hmm. And so that's when I created Elite Delta Force 3, myself and a girl named Angela Yarbrough. We put that group together, and all of those girls in that group are fantastic. They're all working. They're all doing fantastic thing. You should be encouraged when you don't get it. Sometimes a no is a blessing.
Yeah.
Right. How do you feel about, like, during that time making that all black woman sketch group? Obviously, as black people in this business, mm-hmm. there are trends that happen when being black is super cool and they want everyone black and everything. And then they forget. And then they're like, oh, fuck y'all. Back to being black and forgotten and dusty. So was that hard to do a show in that era where I don't think it was like super on for black women?
It was not. We were the only one in town. And it was hard. First of all, it's hard to get people to come out to theater, let alone sketch or improv.
Especially in LA.
At that time, and especially in LA. We were sold out every show because word of mouth, and this is like prior to like social media, like where everybody's like, yo, you got to come and see this. But we were sold out. Like we had to promote our shows, like come to our shows, emailing, like, stuff like that. Yeah. And we were sold out every week, like standing room, sold out. And it was hard, but I will say that I thought that would actually help me do more.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, it's kind of helped me do a lot more now than it did then.
In what way?
Really?
Because what ended up happening. So this is how I got into award shows. So people would come and see the sketch show, Elite Delta Force 3, EDF3. On YouTube, if you look up like EDF3 comedy, you'll see a lot of our sketches. And when I created the show, I was like, yo, I don't want people to never stop laughing. So we were live with sketches. In between sketches, we had videos that we shot and we would show. So in the black, they still watched a sketch. So it was never dark. Wow. And I made sure of that. We played men. We did all the characters. We did everything.
That's fire.
That's so
that is so fire.
And the reason why we played men, it was actually because Nika King, she's on Euphoria. She used to play this character in our other sketch group. And she was so good as a man. And I'm not saying that like to diss her, but she was so great as this character, and it was the funniest thing. And I'm like, we used to die laughing. I was like, yo, we playing men, we doing all of this. So that was the reason why we did that. Yeah. So Leslie Jones used to come. That was my friend. We did a movie together, and she came and she saw us, and she would like sit in the front and like die laughing. And it's hard to get that woman to laugh. You know what I'm saying? But she was like, she was a supporter. So fast forward to Leslie's on SNL now, right? In 2017, she hosted the BET Awards. So I hit up Leslie, yo, who's writing for you? She was like, it's a bunch of dudes. I was like, you don't have no women? She's like, nah. I was like, I want to write for you.
Yes.
She was like, I hadn't even thought about that. Let me see what I can do. Leslie got me hired to write for her for the BET Awards. That was my first award show. I wasn't in WGA at the time, but Leslie Jones made that happen. And because of that, it introduced me into this. It's a world.
Yeah.
It's a different world.
Right.
Same thing. So then what happened was, crazy. So then my next award show was American Music Awards. And that one was because Dion Cole knew of like the sketch stuff that I'd done previously. And he was writing for Tracy Ellis Ross for AMAs. He was like, I think you will be great to help write this particular sketch. So he got me hired on AMAs. So that was another different pool of producers that I got to meet. And the crazy thing is that was all in 2017. So fast forward to years later, and I'm still working my way up, in the award show circuit. And I became the first Black woman this past November to be the head of the AMAs, of the American Music Awards.
Love to see it.
And then also for the BET Awards, became the first Black woman to be the head host writer for BET Awards.
Which seems a little ridiculous that it just now happened. But we
Yes,
have, well,
Especially at BET, like, if not us, then who?
Right.
Well, it's men. Like, it was mostly like men.
That's
You know what I
what I
mean?
was about to say,
You're
yeah.
trailblazing
Guys.
gender and race.
Yeah, because I feel like the awards situation is even more manly than like a regular
Boys
room.
club.
Like I feel like it's all guys. And I think it's because it's the joke base. Because I feel like people assume that women can't write hard jokes. Sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's like we'll put you in a narrative, maybe a dramedy lane.
Yeah.
You can't write a hard joke. Now, I'm just fascinated by the fact that you just hit up Leslie and was like, I want to do this. Like, have you been audacious like that your entire career?
Let me tell you something. Yes.
I know that's right.
Yeah. A closed mouth will not be fed. Use your resources. I can't express that enough. Use your resources. Here's the thing. I'm not a person who's like a beggar or anything like that. So if I call you, you know what's up. I'm not going to call you on some shit. You know my ethic, you know my work ethic, you know the quality of the work that I try to do. If I call you, you're going to answer. I think that's important also, and I think that speaks to itself. But use your resources. You never know what somebody can do. A lot of people would tell me they couldn't do anything or no. And then I just kind of was just like, okay, I'm not going to continue to like ask people to do things or to help out. I'm just going to do it myself. I'm going to lay low. I'm going to take classes.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to pop out. And then now everybody's calling me. You know what I mean? I don't have an agent.
Still.
No.
How did you get the neighborhood?
My manager.
And I think what's so profound about that is there's always an assumption that if you don't have the agent or manager, you're not going to be able to get work.
Yeah.
Right? And to get an agent or a manager, they're always going to say, well, you need to get some work first. So I think it's just like fascinating and also important for people to hear, like, you have to be self-starting consistently. And I think you hear that with stories across the board, especially with people of color. I feel like we even more have to be like generating and creating something so that people can see us working. But I want to talk a little bit about when you transitioned out of, like, we call them struggle jobs here, because when I met Neff, she was working at a law office, I believe, but was, very heavily pursuing the arts. That's what I knew her as. And then when I found out that she was at a law office, I was like, what? Because to me, she was famous. She had been on TV. She was already a star.
Right.
But again, understanding, just knowing that I had a lot of, I don't know, it feels like what is it, a fibrillator, like the heart, like shit. It was like, yeah, this is it. No, a lot of that,
Yeah.
a lot of that, and you just gotta this business, this town. it's not for the weak. It's not for the weak. You really need to know who you are. And I went through a lot to figure that out. And I really went through a lot of understanding that I'm a giver and I like to give and I want people to win and come on over here, let's do this. And I want it to be us. And I have had to realize I've had some hard lessons of I got to fill my cup up now. You know what I mean?
And you get stronger every time you pick yourself up from a fall.
Yeah.
You get stronger and stronger. And like, I want to know for you guys, like, what is what gets you back up? And why don't you just stay down?
Yeah.
And like, for me, I have to tap into like a divine level of alignment. Truly, and it's like, this is between me and God, and no man can stand in the way of that. Like, if anything, if I feel like I'm really confused, or like I really need to tap into some divine energy of like, am I going in the wrong direction? Because I don't want to be in resistance to God's will. I really don't. And if you're trying to tell me that this isn't for me, then I will submit.
Yep.
And it just a fire in me that's like, no.
Yeah.
This is adversity created by man. And I can really stand on that. I'm like, oh, well, then if that's the case, no man can hold back what God has for me. No, truly, no man can get in the way of that. Are you kidding me? A person?
Yeah. Yeah, I had to get myself together in the shower the other day because y'all know the shower is where I really get myself together. That's where I have my cries. That's where I handle all my business. And I really, had to get myself together because I'm just in a cycle of pins and not getting it because they want to go with names. You were great. You were great. Like, I even had some auditions that we were Zooming producer sessions and they were like, that was fantastic. I have no notes. Like, you're so charming. You're so funny. And, when you hearing all that shit, I'm like, damn, well, I think I got a good chance. Like, I think I could do this. Okay, yeah. And then, days go by. And when you don't get that call within the first couple of days, it started to be like, I think I'm not going to be booking that one. And I was just really feeling like, because I was in that place where I was like, okay, I've now done Southside. Like, I've broken through. I've broken through. I've started on the show. Like, it's happening. I'm here. And then I started to feel like, well, damn, am I not here? And then how much harder am I going to have to work? So I got in that shower. I started thinking about how much I had sacrificed to even get to this point. And I was like, you deserve to see this journey through. Like, you owe it to yourself more than anybody, but also thinking about what other people have sacrificed for me to get here. And I'm like, you know what? Come too far to turn back now. Like, I would rather go out bad, in pursuit and see what the fuck is on the other side than to give up now and to give up over something that when I look back could be such a small moment in my career. Look back and that'd be like, what a quick year of not working. Look how much we've done, and I don't want to look back and be like, bitch, you gave up too soon. So
I feel like for me, a huge part of my process in the work is prioritizing what matters for my why. And my why is very like, I've said this before, we're each given spiritual gifts in this life. We're born with these gifts. The ability to express them is why, connected to our purpose, why we're here. And for me, I'm not going to let anybody dictate or take that away from me or rob me of my connection to that. And so for me, it's definitely a spiritual mission first. I always like to say, I'm taking a spiritual journey and the work is a byproduct. So, I will journal every day and I will keep that connection very strong to why I'm doing this, to whatever I'm feeling that needs to come out. Sometimes it feels like channeling. And then everything else will express itself how it needs to express itself. But I'm not as worried about, at some point you have to like you said, Meb, submit. It's too many ups and downs to literally just be like, oh, well, if I try to jerk it, I'm going to get it this time. It's like, nigga, no, you're not. Like, you might get it a little bit trying to do it that way, but like, it's bigger than you. So don't worry about the how of how it all unfolds. You still got to show up. You still got to shoot your shot. But like, the why is what carries me through every day.
I love that. That's one of our favorite things with Meb's like, why did you start? Now, what I think is fascinating about all of us sitting here is we all made a pivot to writing. right? Like, because for us, we went to NYU Conservatory. We came out as straight actors. We started writing because we were not booking. And also on top of not booking, the stuff that we weren't booking, you know, we hated. We say this all the time. Couldn't even book the slave and baby mama roles. And so it was like, something's not aligned. Let me see. No, really. It was like ridiculous.
You
like
didn't get the
that shit used to
crackhead.
kill me. Like, not booking the shit I didn't even want. I'm like,
I didn't even want that.
right. And then I ain't gonna book that shit I didn't even want. Like, how fucking dare they? I am so above this. I was gonna be blessing them.
Right.
You know? Or going to things, to auditions that even were like remember, oh, you went to NYU, you know, acting 101 type situation. Oh, you went to NYU. Oh, you did acting 101.
Yeah.
What the hell is acting 101? You're casting. It's a
Yeah,
mess.
because we came from a place where we really respected it as an art, and we thought, like, you know, you're gonna be a doctor, you can't just pick up some damn scissors and start cutting people open. You gotta train, right? And so for us, it was like, you can't just pick up a script. You gotta train, and it's like, no, bitch, the joke is on you, actually, because you out here auditioning next to the barista from Starbucks, and guess what? The barista booked this, so humble yourself.
Came in with that energy, and I feel like once we started writing, that really, you know, pivoted our career, that created a lane for us and generated even acting opportunities through writing. And, you know, and I'm just, you know, monitoring this through, you know, social media, word of mouth. But I kind of feel like, Neff, when you started writing, like, shit went bananas for you on the acting.
I think for me, what happened was I kind of like released a lot of things. I do feel like, because I was writing, so for instance, the sketch stuff, and I'd always like improv, like you're writing on your feet. Always been doing it, but I had never taken it, I guess, seriously. And so I think that was the difference. And then I was like, well, let me take some class. I'm always the person who's like, I'm going to take a class. I think what really did it for me was during the pandemic. I was on Zoom classes in the morning. I was on Zoom classes at night. Zoom classes in the morning was my writing classes. Zoom classes at night was my acting classes. I was fucking focused. Because what happened was I didn't have a lot of the distractions of, I'm going to go to this event or I'm going to go to this event. I started to focus on me. That was the difference. I focused on me and not like, this is the list of the things that I need to do in order to get there. Fuck that list. Focus on me, and I'm about to be the best that I can be. And I think the difference was that I was super prepared, so there was a different confidence within me that I exuded when I walked into a self-tape, and I was like, if I'm going to give you the best that I can give, then that's it. Yeah. And I don't care what the outcome is. It was not outcome. I think before it was like, oh, it's got to be this outcome. Now I'm just going to do the best and fuck it.
Yeah.
You got to get to that place because that shit, like, it's like, oh, I didn't get Give yourself the day. And then fucking move on. Yeah. What's for you is for you. Yeah. You're going to have it. You're going to have it. I cannot stress that enough. I've been here a long time. What's for you is for you. Yeah. Focus on you. Do the best that you can, because then you're proud of the work that you've done. And then whatever you get, you know, is for you. Right. You can't control if this person decides that you're not going to get the job. And I've seen the best person not get the fucking job.
So free yourself with that.
Do your best.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I feel like there are seasons in life for all of us as artists where it serves us to low-key shut the world out for a minute. It might be 6 months. It might be a year. And go inward. And just go under construction with yourself. And that is your job. It's not, it's like, I'm going to reemerge. I'm in hibernation right now. I'm on retreat. I'm pouring into myself. I'm building my gifts up. I'm working on my skills. And I'm going to come back at a higher level. And you'll see. I won't even have to express anything to you. You'll just see it.
Yeah, that's what...
I remember hearing this thing that DMX, you know, I love some dark man. That sometimes he would just only listen to himself because he was like, I don't want to be on nobody else's wave, nobody else's vibe. I am just focused on my
Right.
sound, my like what
Yep.
I'm doing. And I was like, shit. Now I always say to myself, I need to get on my Dark Man X. I need to just get on my shit. You know, so
Don't worry about what I think social media makes you see, or you damn, that's who got that.
Right.
Oh, I should be doing that. Get off that shit. Set a timer. I have a timer. Get off of it and focus on you. Focus on you.
Yeah.
Focus on you. Nobody can run your race. Only you. Nobody. You guys are brilliant. This is fantastic. Look at what you're doing. Look at what you're doing now. Because what you're doing is you're pouring into yourselves, you're feeding yourselves, and you're planting these seeds, and then watch the crops grow.
and if you know I'll be crying, so cut the shit.
You know what? That just made me think about, like, even though it is really hard and we have been so vulnerable about how we keep ourselves going, I think the commonality in all artists that stick with it is in what that endurance looks like is a difference between aspiring and being. There is no deadline of like, if I don't break out in 3 years, then I'm going to go to plan B. There is no plan B. I'm not aspiring. I am. And so this is a part of the journey, the up and the down. Like I accept it as a part of my life. And like, I got a text message last night from one of my like childhood girlfriends. She was like, I just discovered your podcast. Like, and I just want to tell you that I'm so proud of you. Like, I know how hard it is. Like, I can imagine how hard it is to pursue something and never give up. And I just want you to know that, like, I'm really proud of you for sticking with it. And it touched me because it's like, for so long, I think what kept me going was like, I didn't think about what other people thought about me. I didn't allow myself to even consider people thinking that like, oh, she's failing. She keeps failing and she keeps getting back up. Because I never saw it as that. I saw it as just, I am living the life that I chose to live. And it comes with its set of adversity, just as yours comes with your set of adversity. And I don't measure it in the way that like, I guess other people could measure it. And that's how I keep myself safe.
Thank you for sharing that. We're gonna all cry today. Okay. It's kind of like something I've noticed, but it's also kind of a question to y'all. Like, because of endurance, like taking decades with a career, a relationship, right? Creating your own relationship to this career itself, right? You're in and out for the good and bad of that relationship. What happens when you evolve as a person? How does your relationship to that career evolve as you evolve? Meaning, we all were in survival mode of sorts when we first started, right? We met in New York, we were at NYU, and I think a huge asset to survival mode, there's a lot of bad things about survival mode, but an asset of survival mode when you're first starting out is you're not looking at failure. You're just like, oh, I'm just keeping it fucking pushing. Like it's just another day for me. Yeah. Like, I don't care if it's a L or a win. Like, I know my purpose. And so I'm just climbing this mountain. Tomorrow. I'm just pushing through. So it protects you because I'm not judging myself. Right. Yeah. But then in evolution, I've noticed that I've shifted as I drop out of survival mode. And I'm no longer doing it because of the struggle of it all. Right. And now I'm embracing the pleasure of life. And I'm like, oh, my why has to change because it can't be. We talked about this the other day. It can't be from an anti perspective of like, I'm going to prove all of y'all wrong and I'm going to show you how great I am. It's now like, oh, my why has shifted to this is just like a very intimate, sacred means of expression for myself. And I'm going to show up for it through the thick and thin of it because it is my relationship to, it's deeper than all of that. It's literally life itself to me. Does that make sense? What has that been for y'all? Like,
I never looked at it like big picture. It was always like piece by piece. Like what I remember Will Smith once said, he's like, when you're building a house, you don't think about the whole house. You think about laying this brick as perfectly as you can. And that is how I've always approached this career. I'm just trying to lay this brick as perfectly as I can. And a house will be built in time.
I thought about the house, and I ain't gonna front. I was like, yeah, my house
Yeah.
it's gonna be some acres. But then I had to learn. Like, oh no, there's a foundation that is being laid here, and you want to make sure your foundation is sturdy. And I think that's what the relationships that I've cultivated over the years. So I think that was one thing that has been very valuable for me. My relationships, the relationships that I cultivated along this long period of time. I mean, like you asked me earlier, I was at that law firm for 8 years.
Wow.
I worked at the law firm for 8 years. You understand?
Strong.
This is.
Did you always know it was a side job, or did you think there was a period where that could be a career?
It was never going to be a career, but there were times when I would be distraught. Like, fuck this, I'm done, I quit. I'm done. Are you kidding me? I got to test again? And you're going to tell me, no, I just signed my deal. And no? And y'all going with this person? This motherfucker not even funny.
Speak on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
That one
saying?
always hurts,
That's
yeah.
my opinion. That's just that's my opinion.
Yeah.
But there's been plenty of times that, I've gone through, I'm done. I'm done. I'm a receptionist and a file clerk at the law firm. I'm going to get the attorneys some lunch today. That's my job.
And I'm gonna build my 401k with these niggas.
Fucking done.
With these pennies.
Yeah.
Fucking done. But what's for you is for you. I was not done.
Yeah. I think I definitely skew more on the I'm done, and I get because I'm a mostly calm person, but when I rage, I'm a Scorpio. I fucking rage. Okay, so I definitely have those things where I'm like, I am too fucking smart for this. I could have been a CEO somewhere, Yeah, and it's just like I pivot, have moments of slight pivot. And I think the first thing that held me similarly is my community. People who are also not quitting helps.
Oh yeah, that's why we wouldn't let even Siobhan quit. It's like, we need each other.
Yeah.
I need you, bitch.
Literally.
Yeah. And I feel like we've all had given calls to each other, where it's like, you're not quitting. Like even in New York, I think it was like, you're not going home. You're not moving home. Like we're doing this. We're pursuing this together. It might not be happening in the time that we wanted to, but like we're going. And then as my community has extended, now I have this whole like Southside, of people who, have poured into me, and, we've gone through things on set, had moments that, just brought us closer, and just having the people pour into me and also helping to develop my talent. You know what I'm saying? Working with, somebody like Neff who is incredible at improv and so smart and so funny, going up against that and like having to get better. And then when you see yourself in the ring with somebody and you're maintaining, you're like, well, should I need to pursue this. Like I'm maintaining, and then I think the other thing is just like putting in perspective how hard it is to get on television, how hard it is to get on a staff, how hard it is to sell a show. And everybody in this room, we have all done those things. And just knowing that it's a shot in the dark to even get there.
Yeah.
It takes so many years, so much time. Perspective.
You got to live your life too. Life. Don't let life pass you because you're so focused on this thing, this career path, right? I'm guilty of it.
Same.
So
Took
I'm just
years.
like, go live life. Because when you live life, you see things. It informs us, like comedy. It informs your comedy.
Yeah.
And even on the drama side, I was told in the beginning I can't, because I knew I want to do comedy and drama. No, you got to pick one. No, I'm doing both, and I am. I'm on comedy and drama. So, but life experience really helped me to tap into that and to hone that skill. Life experience.
I always
Live your
hated
life.
that. People are like, you gotta pick one.
Don't pick. Do everything.
Well, see, and in the very beginnings, it used to make me laugh when agents would ask the question, so you want to focus drama or comedy? Baby, I want to focus on the job.
Yeah.
So whatever the fuck they looking for, in my youth, I'm like, I'm not I just got here.
Yeah.
I'm not turning nothing down. You know, I'm
Right.
talking about shit, but well, if that slave number 7 got enough lines, I might put those ragged clothes on and sing my
Is the
slave
script
tune.
good?
No, I slave is my only boundary.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
well, it depends.
Yeah.
It depends.
God.
Is the script good? Is it Django? Because that was a slave I could get behind. But
A slave I can get behind. That is a bitch.
also, I'm trying not to say slave anymore. I'm trying to say enslaved people. I'm trying to get
Yes,
myself
enslaved
together. So enslaved
people.
yeah, 'cause,
Absolutely.
You know.
I think it's that perspective is so important of giving yourself permission to go live and live a full life. And also just, even if it's like a year of like, hey, communicate to your team. Don't just disappear. But if you're like, I need to go somewhere and just live. And yeah, I will be writing while I'm there. I'll be doing things, but I'm not. Give yourself permission because in the road, again, this is not a race. Wait, it's a marathon, right? Not a sprint.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes you need to take a year off. And what I mean by that is, again, because you give a fuck about this and you're passionate, of course you're gonna still be working while you taking that year off, but it's in a different way.
Yeah.
It's in a way to refine your craft and to connect to what you care about, as opposed to taking meetings all fucking day long and like, you know, trying to again muscle. It's like I remember someone from NYU, Jonathan Braylock, back in right after college days, he connected me to Alana Glazer before Broad City had gone. And I was working at Nespresso on the Upper East Side, working this retail job, selling coffee machines. Okay, everybody got one. And I went on my break to meet her at Starbucks to just like chat and like a little general, right? And she said to me, she said, "Girl, please go live your life." She said, "Please." She said, "Because we are in this deal right now, and I don't know if the show's gonna see the light of day." She's like, "It's called Broad City." She's like, "You know, we have a contract with them, but right now we're kind of like a little bit on the shelf." And she's like, "I'm just gonna go take a trip because we're not shooting for another year. And I'm just not gonna let it stress me out." She's like, "I need to go do me." And the funny thing is that conversation is what gave me the permission to go to Germany. Because we literally had already decided to shoot season 2, or it was on the way. And I was like, from experience from shooting season 1 of Downtown Girls, the web series, I'm like, it takes a year to edit it, get it into festivals, and get things going with it. So I was like, I'm timing this so that we can shoot that, and then I'm going to go live because it's going to take time. It all takes time. And when she said that, I was just like, yeah, okay, thank you. And then to see her say that and then have it come to fruition and it get on air and Broad City become the legendary show that it was, it gave me so much faith. Because I was like, oh, it really does happen. It just don't happen on your time. So,
You know, I didn't know we were going to be having church.
Neither did I.
It's not a Sunday.
Okay.
But
Reverend Spencer is for hire.
because it's looking like preach. That was amazing. Neff, we just want to take a minute to just thank you so much for being here. The way you have been inspiring us over the past couple of years has been tremendous. You have been pouring into us from afar.
Yep.
You came in here and you poured into us today. We are just so proud of you and so excited for what you have in store. I mean, Crystal is actually a quiet stan.
yeah, let me admit. So you don't know, but I've been talking about you for the last year. My boyfriend knows I talk about you at home because you are so inspiring. Like, and like, that's the thing. Like, you just don't know who you're inspiring from afar.
Yeah.
And like the journey that you've taken and just seeing kind of like things shift and how they can shift in the last 5 years for someone like who's been in the race for a minute, you know? And like, I'm like, oh my God, it can really look like anything, you know? And every time I see you hosting another award show, I'm like fucking like, yes, bitch. Like, I am just like so impressed. I'm so impressed. So like, thank you for showing us other ways to do things.
Yeah. Shoot.
And being the first.
Yeah. Thanks for staying in this bitch because the game would have missed you. The game would have missed you. This woman is a motherfucking star, and I'm gonna tell you something that you probably didn't know. So on IMDb, you are on a list that was made 11 years ago of African American actors we want to see more of. Somebody made a list, and it was like, hey, casting. This is a short list of African American actors that we want to see more of. These are people you're not looking at, and we want you to look at them. And I looked at that list, and Neff, you were on it. So people have been looking for you for years. And I am glad now you guys can see her every motherfucking where.
Yes.
Go IMDb. It's long, 60.
Okay.
So that was our episode. This has been Unglamorous Truths with the Downtown Girls. I'm Chandra. You can find me at Chani.
I'm Crystal. You can find me at _Chris.
I'm Amebit. You can find me at AmebitBNA.
I'm Nefetari Spencer. I am at Nefetari S.
You can find us at Unglamorous Truths on all the social medias, and you can stream our podcast wherever you listen to yours. Okay, bye.